2000, Disney Interactive and Argonaut Games unveiled Aladdin in Nasira's Revenge, an obscurely titled PlayStation and PC game based on the 1992 Disney smash hit Aladdin. It's something of an odd release, given that many of the levels are directly inspired by the movie, despite being released almost a decade later. The fact that villain Nasira is also directly referenced in the title is also a bit strange, considering the fact that we've never met her until now. Regardless, a game based around the Aladdin franchise still has a solid chance of being a rousing success. So, is it? Unfortunately, this game feels more like one of the lesser direct-to-video television animation sequels than the theatrically released classic, but it's nonetheless pretty interesting, as it is essentially the closest we'll likely ever get to an Aladdin movie tie-in. The plot is pretty standard. It opens with Jafar's sister Nasira, who has remarkably never been mentioned once throughout 3 movies and an entire TV series. It's almost like they created her solely for this game.
And the world will be ours for the taking!
I'm evil! Anyway, she's determined to resurrect Jafar and also take over Agrabah, the latter of which seems surprisingly easy as she manages to do it within the first 3 or 4 minutes. Yes, even after Jafar's betrayal, the Sultan's security is surprisingly lax. Anyway, her usurpation is typically accompanied by your standard evil laugh, characteristic of all Disney villains. Just in case you couldn't already tell, she was evil. I love the little intake of breath after every single laugh, though. Anyway, Homer Simpson, the genie, voiced by Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta, then warns Aladdin that he's a wanted man again. And it's not long before they find out all about Nasira's usurpation of the throne. Nasira has captured Jasmine and the Sultan.
What's going on? Ah! Leave me alone!
That's some top-notch voice acting there.
What's going on?
And even manages to trap the genie.
Uh-oh!
And obviously it's up to this spindly street rat, his scrawny monkey, and his magic flying rug to save the day. Why he decided to continue to live in squalor after marrying a princess is still beyond me. But hey-ho, I mean, don't they remember the end of the movie?
I choose you, Aladdin.
Call me Al.
Oh, and don't go thinking that the magic carpet makes you special. Seriously, everyone in this town seems to have one. Because magic. The game's areas are very close to the movie, although the graphics are not the best, even considering the game's age.
Think of stealing my apples, street rat.
So stop waving your feckin' hand cubes and get out my face. That is a lovely ear, by the way. I don't know why we're looking at it, but it is lovely. Just to prove my point, I take it this apple vendor is supposed to be the apple vendor from the film.
No one steals from my cart.
Let's do a side-by-side comparison, shall we? Yep, spitting image. As the game progresses, you encounter various enemies that require different methods of combat. Some require you to throw stuff at them, while others need hand-to-hand combat to take them out. Oh, but no need to worry, you can block every attack by holding the circle button to stand like this. How this protects you exactly, I don't know, but it seems to work for him anyway. There are others that require you to use alternate methods, such as snakes, spiders, and, man-eating enchanted pillows. I don't know what they were eating or drinking when they came up with this idea. Everything is inexplicably alive in this palace. Anyway, Aladdin himself actually controls pretty well, although combat is still rather basic. Using the block, you can literally just stand there while your opponent tries to hit you, and it can get tedious. Sometimes the game requires you to apply stealth and delicacy, such as when you have to steal these flaming daggers from this snake, who obviously can't use them anyway.
Tiptoe by the window, that is where I'll be.
And these coconuts from this apparently obsessive-compulsive gorilla who likes to organize them into rows. Don't touch that gorilla's nuts! Hang on a minute. Gorilla? In the desert? Think you're a bit lost, mate. Okay, maybe he just wandered over from the Tarzan game or something. Anyway, sometimes collecting stuff can be kind of annoying as the picture isn't always synchronized. You can run through items and he often won't pick them up. But it's okay, there are plenty of exciting tasks to complete that make up for such shortcomings, such as an array of bosses to defeat, a scarab chase, and buying ice creams. Yes, occasionally you'll be faced with some very mundane puzzles you really wouldn't associate with an Aladdin game, such as when you have to purchase an ice cream from a vendor in a cave in the middle of the desert. Who has his own enchanted portable refrigerator, I'm guessing. I'm actually kind of disturbed at how much this guy looks like my neighbour Gary. Seriously, I wish I had a picture. He really looks like Gary. Aladdin. Always gripping. Yeah, this is a part of the Arabian Nights they didn't tell you. Feeling like you missed out yet? Anyway, once you've purchased the ice cream from Gary, this little half-naked man grants you access to the next area. This guy shows up at all sorts of random places to give you hints in his unique way. I don't know who he is, but his tendency to show up everywhere is kind of unintentionally creepy. He even shows up in a level in which he has no speaking role. He just sits there in the background for no reason. Who are you? And what's with this tent? It's like the TARDIS. Look at it. It's tiny on the outside, but it's a whole new world on the inside. See what I did there? Throughout the game, you also receive hints from the genie, and when he's not around, Iago. Voiced by everybody's favourite voiceover, Gilbert Gottfried.
Bat! Why do there always have to be bats?
Why do you always have to shout? Heavy night last night, was it, mate? Oh, and Aladdin isn't the only character you control. No, there are times when Abu needs to take the helm, and these levels are actually a little boring. The only major difference is the combat. Abu attacks using a roll technique, which somehow manages to kill the dungeon guards. Somebody didn't have their Weetabix this morning. Wait, if a monkey is capable of doing that to them, then how on earth do they manage to keep prisoners in here? I'm starting to understand how Nazira managed to take over so fast. There are also a number of flying carpet levels, although these are particularly frustrating as, again, the collectibles are not properly synchronized, making it very difficult to pick them up. At some point later on, you need to rescue Jasmine from the pyramid.
This has to be the place!
It has? How can you tell? It's just desert. There's no pyramid in sight. What? Did you have sat-nav on that thing?
Aladdin!
Jasmine! Are you alright?
Yeah, anyway, once that's done, another level sees you control Jasmine to sneak around the palace and retrieve a map for you to head to the ancient city to find the Sultan. Oh, great. That's a good idea. I wasn't expecting to be controlling Jasmine as well. This could actually be pretty good. I'm looking forward to this. Let's take a look. Right. Jasmine, do you not think it might be easier to sneak around the palace without that massive pot? I mean, it's like me trying to sneak around somebody's house while trying to shift a wardrobe or something. Seriously, why the hell would you think this was a good idea? Anyway, fortunately, the guards are pretty stupid. Halt, who goes there? Oh, it was just a giant jumping pot, it's fine. Back to work, everybody. Also, it's rather lucky they seem perplexed by something as mundane as a staircase. Seriously, does anybody else just want to try and sneak past security and become Sultan? Because it seems pretty damn easy to me. Like, all you have to do is stick a stepladder in front of them and Agrabah's yours. Oh, also I can't help but notice the state of the palace. Nazira took over about 5 minutes ago, and already it's gone from looking like this to looking like this. What the hell's she been doing? Well, I'm never asking her to house sit.
Are you alright?
Oh, I'm alright. Aladdin, here's the map to the ancient city.
Jesus! That hair could have your friggin' eye out. And I know it's PS1 era, but they move very robotically, and it's kind of funny. The most interesting parts of the game, for me at least, are the boss levels. They are actually quite varied and require different forms of attack, though none are overly taxing. In the Oasis, you encounter a giant spider. Because... well, let's face it, almost all games have a giant spider in there somewhere. They had to stick it somewhere in the game, didn't they? This level requires you to jump around and pound its abdomen. Nothing too difficult. And it turns out that's where you get the 2 scarab halves from. Obviously a minor detail that I forgot to mention in the movie. Just to compare, another boss level sees you fight during a magic carpet flight. Just as you rescue the Sultan from the ancient city, this guy appears. Wait, who? What? Who's he? Oh, well, the important thing is we make sure the Sultan's safe. And maybe then they'll tell us exactly who this guy is, what he wants, and what he has to do with the plot.
Hello.
Nope.
No, seriously, this entire incident is never mentioned again. Ever. It's almost as though it didn't happen. Was he in cahoots with Nazira? No bloody clue. No idea who he was, where he came from, why he was there. Oh, well, that's that then. One thing I found a little disappointing is that you never actually defeat Nazira herself, but Jafar's massive head. I'm not sure if the rest of his body is that big or if he's just extremely top-heavy. But that's beside the point. Despite being the titular villain, Nazira never gets to be her own level boss. Speaking of which, the easiest boss, Razul.
Where do you think you're going, street rat?
Yes, this guy, from the cartoon. You know.
Hassan Chop!
No, not that one. The one from the movie, voiced by Jim Cummings. I understand that description alone doesn't exactly help, since pretty much half of all animated characters in existence are also voiced by Jim Cummings, but I mean this guy.
Street rat.
Run!
Yeah, his skin is looking a lot grayer than before. Perhaps he died a few days ago and just didn't realize it. Anyway, in this level you just have to attack him. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You have to avoid some falling debris as well, but that's it. Seriously, this palace's security is horrific. And he's still calling me a street rat and trying to kill me? Why haven't they fired this guy and replaced him with somebody else voiced by Jim Cummings? The hardest boss, Anubis.
Not a nudist, Nanny. Anubis. It's a statue of Anubis.
Yes, to rescue Jasmine, you first have to defeat the Egyptian god Anubis and his dragons.
What? Okay. Disney, does the phrase jumping the shark mean anything to you?
Anyway, this level isn't too difficult, just kind of annoying. The dragons temporarily paralyze you when they bump into you, and occasionally Anubis locks you in a permanent paralysis that you can't seem to get out of. This doesn't always happen, it seems completely randomly generated as far as I can tell, but you know for a fact that if he does it, chances are your fate is sealed. Most annoying level, the magic carpet bonus level. Yes, I'm including bonus levels, deal with it, and for good reason. It was a tough choice between this and the pyramid level 3, but we won't go into the reasons why, I can't be bothered. Okay, I should probably explain this first. If you collect all 3 red gems in a level, the genie whisks you away to play a bonus level. And actually, this game is one of the few movie-based games I own in which the bonus levels are mostly kind of fun.
And I use the term fun very loosely.
This one, however, is not fun. All you need to do is collect all the coins and avoid all obstacles to reach the end. But I'm not going to lie to you, I've had this game over a decade and never managed to do it because, at least in my game, it's not synchronized. You bump into objects that aren't even there, it's ridiculous. And while we're on the subject of bonus levels, if you complete one, you're rewarded with a blue genie gem. Now, if you look this up online, you'll see that if you collect all 20 blue genie gems, you get an alternate ending. I tell you, I have all 20, and nothing happens. At least nothing happened to me, anyway. I've read some people say they received a congratulations screen, but even so, it's a bit underwhelming after all the effort you've invested. Was this the most celebratory music they could find? Ah! What a lovely image to end the game on. Most challenging puzzle, deflect the lasers. This puzzle takes place in the pyramid level 4. Iago kind of angrily tells you what to do.
Use the blocks to deflect the lasers!
And then you're left to your own devices. The controls aren't in any way complex, but it can get confusing trying to move the blocks around so that the laser can follow the correct path. Nothing too challenging, but a nice change of pace, and something that requires at least a little more thought than the average level. Okay, this game is not perfect, but hey, it's not based on a specific Aladdin movie, and taking that into consideration, it stands on its own rather well. Most of the original voices are here, although, as with the return of Jafar, Robin Williams is sorely missed as the genie. But Dan Castellaneta does a decent job all the same. It has some major flaws, as I've pointed out, so major there's even one bonus level I think is incompletable. But it's exciting, it's varied, it's fun, and the soundtrack is solid too, with some nice upbeat variations on the original movie's themes. No, it's not perfect, but Aladdin in Nasira's Revenge could easily be considered a diamond in the rough.
See what I did there?
Gary, you don't seem to be moving much at all. Actually, Gary, speak to me, Gary.